I did get the chance to listen to Meghan's latest podcast interview, and I kind of almost choked on my little can of gin and tonic when I heard the line of her asking people to tell the truth about her.
I don't trust a word that woman says, so I think that it is very, very low of her to insinuate that we should listen to her truth or she wishes that other members of the royal family told truths. I don't want to hear it from her.
Actually, I think Samara and I and others do actually tell the truth about her, and I don't think she likes it very much.
Yeah, so leaving the firm was worth a couple of Instagram posts. All right, Meghan. I mean, for me, that's just not good enough.
I could just see a horrible...
Meghan Markle is back in the headlines, and this time, she's lecturing the royal family about truth. Yes, you heard that right. The woman who has built her entire post-royal career on emotional storytelling, controversy, and well-crafted PR campaigns is now acting like she's the global authority on honesty and transparency. Now, I don't know about you, but when someone constantly shifts their narrative, contradicts their own statements, and leaves a trail of damaged reputations behind them, I don't exactly call that a truth teller. I call that a brand. And Meghan Markle's brand? It's not built on truth. It's built on spin. Today, I'm breaking down exactly why Meghan Markle has no business lecturing anyone, especially the British monarchy, about truth, when her own public image is crumbling under the weight of exposed contradictions, media manipulation, and a very public, very expensive fall from credibility. Since the Oprah interview, Meghan has tried to reframe herself as a courageous outsider, someone who dared to speak up against a cruel and outdated institution. But let's be honest, that interview wasn't a confession. It was a calculated launch of her personal brand. She claimed she was married to Harry in a secret backyard ceremony.
Otherwise, no one would care about her. I mean, a lot of other people doing the sort of things that she does. I mean, sprinkling petals over salads and stuff.
Well, I guess the newsline that came out of it was that the podcast is no longer. She's not going to do that anymore. So she said, I can only spread my jam so thin, which is some sort of, again, PR sort of line that she's probably been fed by a publicist. But she said that she doesn't want to do the podcast anymore because she wants to focus on her business. I mean, yet another business failure on a podcast that's about business. I mean, she really hasn't had a proper business for a year, so it was sort of weird to see her as a big juxtaposition of her sitting alongside this behemoth businesswoman who's self-made, and then her, as you said, who's just there because of who she married.
Well, she sort of spoke about business as well, didn't she? She said that, she's talking about she always wanted to do it when she was a child. She, she always had like some kind of stall or would go to farmers markets, and talked about her grandfather and her mother running businesses. But she talked about that people would have thought that maybe she would have moved into fashion or beauty, or maybe acting. I mean, are you surprised that she's gone really full into this business idea rather than fashion, beauty, or acting?
Nothing surprises me. And I mean, she's said something about broadening out and coming out of the kitchen and into the drawing room or something.
Which the Archbishop of Canterbury flat out denied. She said the palace refused to help her when she was having suicidal thoughts, yet multiple palace insiders confirmed that support was available. She heavily implied that Archie was denied a royal title because of his race, even though royal titles follow long-established succession rules that apply to everyone, regardless of background. This isn't truth-telling. This is a well-rehearsed narrative designed to make Meghan look like the victim of a corrupt system, while conveniently ignoring how often the facts don't back her up. Let's talk about the Spotify debacle. Meghan and Harry signed a massive $20 million deal to produce podcasts for the platform. And what did they deliver? One season. Just one. And most of the episodes were carried by celebrity guests with little to no real substance. When the deal ended, it wasn't just quietly swept under the rug. Executives from Spotify, some of the highest-level people in the company,
not her own father who paid all her school fees.
Exactly, and took her on the set and everything. And, and just go back to, sorry to keep going back to the past, but why did Mr. Markle never meet Prince Harry? And there can only be three reasons for that. One, that she was ashamed of him, which I think was a bit pretty unattractive. Two, possibly that she thought he'd done something. But when Prince Harry rang Mr. Markle up and asked if he could marry his daughter, he said, you can marry her as long as you never raise your hand against her. And of course, we don't talk like that. So maybe he lives in a world where people have done that sort of thing. I dispute that as well. I don't think that's the case. The third reason is that I think she was worried that he might actually have warned Prince Harry that this is not what you're getting, this girl.
They're not two normal families, are they? They both married into. I mean, let's be honest. That both families have quite a lot of history. They've got a lot
Mr. Markle should have been at the wedding, and they should have flown him over,
Yeah.
stuck him in a health farm in the Shetlands or somewhere. Prince Harry should have gone up to see him, and if he couldn't have walked the aisle, he should have been sitting there, because, as you rightly say, he did a lot for that girl. She even admitted it in the early days before she distanced herself from him.
He lives 3 hours away. There is no excuse. And
Still,
actually,
now,
I have to say, it's pretty. Some of the circumstances that he's living in, compared to the riches that Harry and Meghan have, is appalling.
That's not my opinion. That's their direct quote. Now ask yourself this. Would serious, authentic content creators, people genuinely interested in sharing the truth, get called grifters by their own business partners? Of course not. But Meghan and Harry did. Because it's all performance. It's content disguised as confession. It's spin wrapped in a dollar sign. What makes this even worse is that Meghan isn't just building herself up. She's tearing others down in the process. Specifically, the royal family. She's cast them as cold, racist, and emotionally unavailable, while she plays the misunderstood heroine trying to escape their grasp. But if Meghan really wanted healing, why keep dragging the monarchy through the mud? Why release a Netflix docuseries that paints Harry's family as villains? Why monetize trauma over and over again? Even Angela Levin, one of the most experienced royal biographers out there, has said that Meghan isn't interested in truth or reconciliation. She's interested in building a solo brand, one that doesn't need Harry, doesn't need the royals, and definitely doesn't need facts to thrive. Let's not forget, Meghan still proudly uses the title Duchess of Sussex.
Well, he'd be criticised if he didn't go to church. I mean, maybe it's good for him to go to church. What does it matter?
Because we will be asking this question, or people will be asking this question every year. Yeah. And I don't think he will lose his membership of the order.
No, he
I don't
won't.
think it's a huge decision to make. I don't think it will happen. But people will, look every year and think, well, because we saw him going towards and having getting the car to the chapel and not being seen in public, but having the lunch. People will ask the question every year, and if they were to move and get rid of him, then it would just kick everything up again. So let's just leave it. Just let it lie.
I agree.
The Duke of Windsor, for example, after he'd abdicated, he kept his garter, his banner hung in the chapel until the day he died. He had a new banner, actually, specifically as Duke of Windsor.
Okay. You mentioned about headaches earlier. There'll be a few headaches at Royal Ascot. I say the reason I'm dressed like this because I will be going again.
It
today.
wasn't the gin and tonics.
It wasn't the gin and tonics yet. But the King's got a few horses. He's going every single day. It's a very important thing in his calendar now. The late Queen used to love going to Ascot, but the King sees it as a good social event, a good networking event, and he likes to be seen. What do you think about him at Royal Ascot, Hugo?
Yeah, well, I was there yesterday, and
She keeps the perks and prestige, even as she continues to attack the very institution that gave it to her. By now, the contradictions are too many to ignore. Meghan has claimed to grow up with hardship, yet she went to an elite private school in Los Angeles. She said she knew nothing about the royal family, but later appeared wearing outfits and jewelry styled after Princess Diana. She insisted she was silenced, and then went on to dominate headlines, interviews, and major streaming platforms for years. And then there are the bullying allegations. Her former royal staff, real people who worked with her directly, have accused her of being a toxic, manipulative boss. Some even said she reduced team members to tears. Meghan, of course, called it a smear campaign. Because in her world, criticism is never valid. It's always jealousy, or racism, or press bias. But the rest of us? We see a pattern. When things don't go Meghan's way, she doesn't take responsibility. She rewrites the narrative.